All right, here's a brief one about your internal customer, right? So one of the things you have to understand with your internal customer, if you want to be able to attract really good talent, is you need to align your internal customer with your external customer, right? So things like our last home service business, we found that most of our customers, I mean, like in the high 70s, most of our customers were women from the age of 50 down to 35. And so that being the case, when I was hiring plumbers, right, the plumbing company, when I was hiring plumbers, I particularly looked for guys that were in their early to mid 20s and that were fit. Right? It sounds terrible, but it really is true, right? What's she gonna want in her home? Is she gonna want some old haggard guy that smells like cigarette smoke? Or is she gonna want some guy who's, 400 pounds and sweating like a pig and, got his crack hanging out and can't keep a shirt tucked in? Or is she gonna want a young fit guy? What's she gonna want, right? So one of the things you have to do is you have to align your internal customer to your external customer. So that being the case, you need to know who your external customer is. All right, so once you've identified your external customer, now you're going to create an internal customer. What you're going to find is that if your external customer and your internal customer are aligned, you're going to have more satisfaction of both your external customer and your internal customer, because your internal customer, right, your employees, they don't want to work with a bunch of miserable, angry customers. They don't want to. But a lot of times that happens, the dissatisfaction and the unhappy, miserable customers that just aren't any fun to work with for your internal customers. A lot of times that happens not because people are cranky, but because you have failed as an owner to align your internal and your external customer. So as we work with our internal customer and identify our internal customer, one of the things we have to do is create alignment between our internal customer and our external customer. So think about it. You go to the gym, right? Who works at the gym? Right? Are they people who aren't healthy? Are they people that are out of shape? Are they people who obviously are not taking care of their body? Or are they people that are in shape? You think we go to a super high end, we go to the exotic car dealer, right? Where they got the Porsches and the Lamborghinis and the Ferraris. Those are kind of fun to walk through. You go through one of those. Who's there? Is it guys that are in beat up, tattered clothes, or are they guys that are in name brand fancy clothes? You go to the Western wear store. Who do you have there? Some guy in, skinny jeans, or, and his Vans on, and a flat brim hat on backwards? Or do you find a guy in boots and a belt buckle and Wranglers and all? No, it's all about customer alignment. So we're aligning in our internal and our external customers. And when we align our internal and our external customers, we find that there's satisfaction to both of them at a far higher level. So one of the things you got to do when you're considering who your internal customer is you have to consider who your external customer is and how we can align the two of them. And we'll find that it's easier to recruit them, find them, and retain them if we make alignment between our internal and our external customers.